Hello and welcome to this World Cup special. We're coming to you from the iconic Melbourne cricket ground, and one reason why India has been doing really well in this World Cup is not because of their strong batting or their effective bowling, but also because of their very high standards of fielding. In the next half an hour or so, we'll discuss about the various exciting pieces of fielding that have happened in the World Cup over the years. Some moments that really stand out, some images that have become iconic over the years. Joining me on the show, Dean Jones, Brian Lara, Sunil Gavaskar and Ian Chappell joins us from Sydney. Now, we've zeroed down on 4 such pieces of fielding. We'll start with the one that happened first from the 1975 final. 3 run-outs is what Viv Richards did at that time, and 2 of them were direct hits. The 3 gentlemen that he got out, 2 of them were the Chappell brothers. So since Ian is joining us on the show, Ian, yours wasn't a direct hit, but did you then learn it the hard way that never to run off a misfield?
Yeah, the first run out I was batting with Alan Turner. I called him for a single. He was slow to back up, but I've seen the photos of the run out obviously since that game, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe there's any way that Alan Turner was out. If you see the photos, the bails aren't that far off the stumps, and Alan Turner's bat is at the level with the stumps. So, okay, he was given out, so in the scorebook, you're out, run out. But I don't believe... I always thought, when I hit it, I always thought there was a fairly comfortable single there. And there would have been a very comfortable single there if he'd have been backing up properly, but he was slow off the mark. But still, I think he made it. The next run out was my brother Greg. I cut it on the downslope at Lord's down towards the tavern side of the ground. And the ground that day was so fast. It had been a very dry spell in England, and boy, it was just running really quickly. And I cut it to Viv's left hand, and he dived, and the ball bounced off his hand away to his left, and he's a right-hand thrower. So I called Greg through. I thought there was a pretty comfortable run. Obviously I didn't see much of what happened because I was running to the non-striker's end, but somehow or other Viv recovered. Picked it up, and he must have swiveled and made the throw and threw the stumps down. Greg always said to me, and Greg's very quick to tell me that if he thought it was a bad call, but he said he thought there was a single there. But once again, it was just the quality of Viv's fielding. And the other run out that I was involved in was myself. I was the one who was run out eventually. Clive Lloyd was bowling. I hit it wide of mid-on, sort of between mid-wicket, mid-on. Didn't quite reach the boundary, but we got through for 2, and I think there was a bit of a fumble. Viv fumbled or something in the outfield, and I went for the 3rd one, and he produced a very good throw. Right, it didn't hit the stumps, but it was right over the stumps to Clive Lloyd, and I was run out. So we had 2 more run-outs after that. We had 5 in all, which for quite a long time was a world record. But fortunately for us, Warwickshire, I think, in a Gillette Cup final a few years later, they had 7 run-outs, broke our record. So thank heavens, last time I looked, we're number 2 on the list. At least we're not number 1.
Right, so we heard it from the man who was involved in those runouts. Dino, to you must have been a youngster watching that game on telly, the finals. Did you think, as an Australian supporter, those 3 runouts changed the course of the game?
Oh, absolutely. Something about Viv, we didn't really know a lot about the great man as we do today, but it's amazing what fielding does, and that really put him on his name on the big map of the world on how important fielding is, how fielding can change your game, and more importantly, if you can't field these days, you're not going to get picked. So it's a pretty important discipline to have in part of your game.
Okay, now let's move on to the second bit of fielding, and this involves an Indian 1983 that catch that Kapil Dev took. The ball went like miles up in the air. You were playing that game. Did you have your heart in your mouth?
Oh, no. The moment I saw Kapil going for it, I knew that he would be able to catch it. Because if there was one person who would have taken that catch, it was Kapil. And he ran sideways. He didn't run backwards, because that way sometimes you can lose your balance. But the way he had the ball in his sight all the way as he went sideways was really an example for, budding youngsters, how to keep your eye on the ball and still go and get your speed going as well. absolutely magnificent. Turned the match around because it was Viv Richards' wicket.
So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Kapil as a fielder. We talk about his batting, we talk about his bowling, but they say that when it came to athleticism, there were none like him on the field.
I think he was a natural. I think he would have been very good in any sport if he had taken it. He would have been absolutely fine any sport. His speed on the ground. If you challenged him for 100 meters dash, it was amazing because he would leave you behind. You were just sort of, eating the grass that, his feet were churning up as he ran ahead of you. He was sensational. I think he would have been an all-round sportsman, just a natural sportsperson. And he was terrific.
Sonny, were you worried about in the 83 World Cup final with the guys that the actual spectators were running out on the field while he was trying to take the catch? That's quite disconcerting, surely.
Well, I think it was Yashpal Sharma who was at deep square leg, who was actually coming in. We were at one stage worried that there would be a bit of a clash. Yeah. And, in any case, Yash and Caps, because of the fact one plays for Punjab and one plays for neighbouring Haryana, there's always been a little bit of a... Haji over there. But, Caps took extraordinary catch.
Okay, now to the next contender on our list. This is from the 1992 World Cup, a World Cup that two of you played. That image has become iconic, Jonty Rhodes parallel to the ground getting the run out. Do you think that changed the way fielding was done? We're talking about the 83 World Cup where they were naturally very good fielders, but that brought in a whole new world of athleticism, would you say, that image in particular?
I never thought Jonty hit the stumps as much as Herschel Gibbs, for example. I thought he was more dangerous throwing the balls at the stumps. And that iconic photo of Jonty powering through the stumps came about the fact that he missed throwing the stumps down twice. So when he got the ball the third time, I'm not going to miss it, so I'm just going to charge it. And it was a good thought at the time. Maybe he had a little negative thought, and he said, this time he's not going to miss my speed. But you talk about a guy who just was picked just for his fielding in one-day cricket, let alone his batting or other stuff. It was amazing. And more importantly, Jonty, when he fielded, it looked like it was fun to him. He just like a dog with a ball. He just wanted to field and run around all day. And all of a sudden, cricket, the important position behind point for guys, when these guys who smash it behind point, you better have your best fieldsman there or you're going to be sorted out.
Okay, Brian, he that time ran out Inzamam-ul-Haq. Inzamam has been run out a few times in international career, but not to take anything away from Jonty. Do you think he revolutionized fielding from that particular image, revolutionized fielding?
Most definitely in my mind. I grew up watching a lot of great fieldsmen. Dean Jones was one of my favorite guys to watch in the field. Gus Logie, the big catch you heard of Clive Lloyd, and Sir Viv Richards as well. All great fieldsmen. And when you look at it, you say, that's a great fieldsman. But for the first time, when you saw Jonty, you thought, well, geez, they got 13 guys on the field. They got a guy at backward point, a guy 10 yards to his right, and a guy 10 yards to his left. And that was only Jonty Rhodes. Every time I played a ball in his direction, there was some sort of hesitation. And that performance against Pakistan, against Inzamam-ul-Haq, is just unbelievable. Today, you still see it. What is also critical about is that South Africa just came back into international cricket, their first World Cup. Nobody knew anything about them. We knew that they played good cricket back in South Africa, but that's it, full stop. And to see Jonty Rhodes and his band of warriors coming out over to the World Cup and their performances, not just in the field, but all around was great. So it signaled to me the start of something totally different in terms of the feeling aspect of things.
Okay, now to the final contender on our list. It wasn't a crucial game. It's just that image stands out. Dwayne Leverock from Bermuda taking that catch in 2007. Brian, you're the only one on our panel who played that World Cup. It happened in your home ground. What are your memories of that particular catch?
I don't know if they put up a plaque yet, but there is some indentation on the ground, still left by the weight of the man hitting the ground. But people still talk about it in Trinidad. It was not a great World Cup for India and other countries, but that whole session in Trinidad, in terms of that part of the World Cup, to remember that catch has got to be significant. And I visit Bermuda quite a lot, and I see Mr. Leverock. And that big smile on his face, tremendous guy. He was just special to have a guy like that on a cricket field. You look at the guys today, there's no way, you're gonna find someone like that on the field. But he played his part. I think he's got something to remember in a World Cup cricket tournament. And good luck to him.
Okay, Dino, people have to score hundreds or get 5 first to be remembered, and yet they're not remembered. This man takes a catch and is remembered. He's a legend.
Yeah, well, we thought there was an earthquake when he hit, and there was a tidal wave alerts going out to St Lucia and St Kitts and all that. Look, but it's just the sheer joy. And it's something about the associate teams that they bring. They bring a different spark to the game, and everyone was trying to catch him. It's the fastest I've ever saw him run. I don't know who was more surprised, the actual batsman getting out to that catch or him actually taking the catch. He sort of looked down and gone, I've taken that. Where do I run? Who do I celebrate with? I'm going over there. It's no, it's fabulous, and it goes to show you that I know we live in this age where guys have got to be unbelievably built like these guys and athletes and all that, but there have been some guys who have been a little bit bigger than normal,
Yeah.
but still be able to actually deliver a punch. He delivered a punch.
Okay, that was my next question. Actually, what made that catch very exciting, at least for viewers in India, Bumble was commentating at that time and made it really funny also. But Saiba, you played with a few guys who were big, as Dino mentions, in your time, but none as athletic as Dwayne Leverock was.
Well, I think the only thing I can say about that is that the ball caught him. So, I don't think he actually, look, a lot of times, I've known during the time that I played, guys who didn't enjoy fielding would dive so that they didn't have to chase the ball. So if somebody was at mid-on, he dived or showed as if he was diving. So the guy at mid-wicket had to go and chase the ball because he didn't want to do a bit of running, and maybe that was what the man was trying to do. But television can actually make something look spectacular. And that's what it was. It made it look spectacular. And because he was, shaped the way he was, if I might use that word, it looked telegenic, if I might say so.
Finally, the 4 picks that we had for the best pieces of fielding, your favorite and why?
Me first.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Jonty Rhodes, simply because that was the beginning of what we saw of Jonty Rhodes, and he was just exceptional. Yeah. And if you look at anybody who played during that era, Jonty Rhodes' era, will tell you he was the best fieldsman of all times. What we have seen. But then that one moment still stands out today. So I believe that sort of heralding, what great fieldsmen that could be. And today I think we've seen the benefit of it.
Okay. If you were to Google cricket fielding, I think that'll be the first image that'll come. Dino, for you?
Well, Jonty's up there because it's amazing. In television, we've got all this wonderful slow-mo, but it's that one fantastic shot a photographer got with him horizontal, whacking through the stuff. Look, Viv Richards, for me as a young boy, he's the greatest player I ever saw.
Which is the one moment you're picking?
I can't split them. Any bloke who runs out Ian Chappell, I'm going to have to say good on him. Sorry, chaps.
Ian, what about you?
Well, I think Viv Richards' fielding was outstanding. And the fact that it involved 3 run-outs in the one game, I think that makes it number 1 for me. Viv was a cat-like in the field. He had that ability where he seemed to run very low to the ground, and I don't know whether he had extremely long arms or not, but he didn't really seem to have to bend too much to pick the ball up. So that probably was an advantage. And then he had this terrific, not only a powerful throw, but he was also a very accurate throw. And in later years, he developed this method when chasing the ball with his back turned to the stumps. He could pick the ball up and jump and turn in the air with his both feet off the ground and fire a rocket from about 40 yards, 40 metres. I've never seen anybody else that could. I've seen other guys that could do the jump and the turn, but their throw was nowhere near as powerful as Viv. He was a brilliant fielder, and that was his early days where we just saw him in the covers, the cover point areas. But in latter days, he went into the slips. He was very good there. I saw him at bat pad. I saw him take remarkable couple of catches at bat pad. He was just a genius in the field all round.
I know which one.
No brainer, Kapil Dev's catch.
There it is.
Okay, of course, that got India the World Cup. Thanks so much for joining us. Sunil Gavaskar, Brian Lara and Dean Jones. Unfortunately, we couldn't fit in all the moments. There's that catch that Mark Watt took in slips in 1999. Final, Ajay Jadeja's catch, I remember, in 1992. Brilliant at that. But no moment from this World Cup as well. We've got a few games to go. Hopefully, we'll have one. Thanks so much for joining us.